Picture this for a moment. You are strapped into a spacecraft, watching the blue curve of Earth slowly shrink into the distance, fully aware that you might never feel its gravity again. It sounds like the plot of a futuristic movie, but according to what scientists currently understand, this could be the real experience of the first people who travel to Mars. The biggest obstacle is not building a powerful enough rocket or designing advanced landing systems. The real challenge is the human body itself, because our bodies are built for one environment, and taking them away from it for years can change them in ways that may not fully reverse. I have spent years studying how space missions affect the body and following research from long-duration missions, and what we are learning is both fascinating and unsettling. The idea of traveling to another planet captures our imagination, but behind the excitement is a harsh biological reality that very few people talk about. A journey to Mars is not like a quick trip to orbit. It is an extreme expedition that pushes the limits of human endurance in ways we have never experienced before. While astronauts reach the moon in just a few days, traveling to Mars takes many months one way, and when you include the time waiting for the right planetary alignment to return, the entire mission can stretch to several years. That means years away from family, from fresh air, from immediate medical care, and most importantly, from the constant pull of gravity that our bodies rely on every second. Distance alone creates serious problems. Mars sits tens of millions of kilometers away at its closest approach, which means communication delays of many minutes. If something goes wrong, help is not hours away or even days away. It could be months. Imagine having a serious medical issue and knowing that the nearest fully equipped hospital is on another planet. That level of isolation is something no human society has ever experienced before. But as dramatic as the distance sounds, the real story is what happens inside the body over time. During a Mars mission, astronauts would live through multiple gravity environments. First, there is weightlessness during the long trip through space. Then there is the weaker gravity on Mars, which is only a fraction of what we feel on Earth. And if a return journey happens, there is the sudden reintroduction to full gravity again. Each transition forces the body to adapt, and when these adaptations stack over years, the effects can become profound. Our bodies evolved under constant gravitational load. Every step you take, every time you stand up, your bones and muscles are working against gravity. Remove that load and the body starts to change. It is not dramatic at first. It happens quietly, month after month. But over long periods, the changes add up. We've already seen this with astronauts who lived 4 months aboard the International Space Station. Many of them needed weeks of rehabilitation just to walk normally again after returning. That is, after missions lasting about half a year. Now imagine extending that exposure several times longer. One of the most serious threats is something you cannot see or feel directly, which is cosmic radiation. On Earth, we are protected by a magnetic field and thick atmosphere that block most harmful radiation from space. Once you leave that protective bubble, exposure increases dramatically. Over the course of a long mission, astronauts could receive radiation doses far higher than what people experience on Earth. This kind of exposure can damage DNA, increase the likelihood of cancer, and accelerate aging processes inside the body. Research also suggests it can affect the brain, potentially influencing memory, attention, and decision-making. That is especially concerning when you consider that astronauts must perform complex tasks in a high-risk environment where clear thinking is essential. Radiation may also affect the eyes, increasing the chances of vision problems, and it can weaken the immune system, making it harder to fight infections. Scientists are working on shielding solutions, but building protection that is both effective and practical for deep space missions remains a major challenge. While radiation quietly affects cells, another process is happening that is easier to observe, which is the gradual weakening of bones and muscles. In microgravity, bones do not have to support body weight, so the body begins to break down bone tissue faster than it rebuilds it. Over time, bones can lose significant density, becoming more fragile. Muscles follow a similar pattern. Without the need to support posture or movement against gravity, they shrink and lose strength. The muscles most affected are those we rely on to stand, walk, and lift, especially in the legs, back, and core. This is why astronauts exercise daily in space, using specialized equipment. But even with strict exercise routines, they still experience losses. Think of it like leaving your arm in a cast for months. When the cast comes off, the muscles are smaller and weaker because they were not being used. Now imagine that happening throughout your entire body over a much longer period. There's also an interesting shift at the microscopic level. Muscle fibers can change in composition, which may affect endurance and fatigue resistance. Tasks that seem simple on Earth, like climbing stairs or carrying groceries, could become exhausting. Joints and connective tissues also adapt to reduced loading, which may increase the risk of long-term joint problems. The heart, which is a muscle too, undergoes its own transformation. On Earth, the heart works constantly to pump blood upward against gravity. In weightlessness, this demand decreases. Over time, the heart can lose some of its muscle mass and become less efficient at handling sudden changes in blood pressure. Astronauts often experience fluid shifts where more fluid moves toward the upper body, giving the face a slightly puffy appearance while the legs appear thinner. The body adjusts by reducing overall fluid volume. When returning to gravity, this can lead to dizziness or difficulty standing because the cardiovascular system needs time to readapt. If you extend these effects over several years, the adjustment could be much more challenging. To understand how all these changes come together, imagine a fictional astronaut named Sarah. She trains for years, goes through intense preparation, and finally launches on a mission to Mars. During the journey, she exercises daily and follows strict nutrition plans. Still, after months in microgravity, she notices tasks feel different. Her endurance drops, and she needs more effort to complete workouts. Once on Mars, she can walk, but movements feel lighter and slightly awkward because of the reduced gravity. She spends over a year conducting research and maintaining equipment. When the time comes to prepare for a possible return, her medical scans show reduced bone density and lower muscle mass, despite all precautions. Her cardiovascular tests reveal that her body has adapted to the new environment. Returning to Earth would require a long rehabilitation period, and event in some changes might remain. Stories like this illustrate why scientists are cautious when discussing long-term missions. Beyond physical changes, there is also the psychological side. Living in a confined environment with a small crew for years can be mentally demanding. Isolation, delayed communication, and the knowledge that you are far from home can create stress. Astronauts are trained extensively to handle these conditions, and support systems are being developed. But it is another factor that makes these missions unique. So what does all this mean for the future of human exploration? It does not mean traveling to Mars is impossible. It means we must understand the risks and prepare carefully. Researchers are exploring ideas like artificial gravity, improved exercise systems, better radiation shielding, and medical monitoring technologies that can detect problems early. Nutrition plans are being refined to support bone and muscle health, and new medications are being studied to slow bone loss. Advances in spacecraft design may also reduce exposure to radiation during travel. There is still a lot we do not know, and ongoing research will continue to refine our understanding. Now imagine another scenario. A small group of explorers has been living on Mars for more than 2 years. They have built habitats, grown some of their own food, and adapted to daily life in reduced gravity. One crew member begins preparing for a return mission. The training includes gradually increasing physical load, specialized exercise, and careful monitoring. So, why does it take months for astronauts to recover? The goal is to help the body handle the immense stress of returning to full gravity. This long preparation really shows how complex the challenge is, and why mission planners have to think about long-term health from the very beginning. Now, what lessons can we take from this today? Well, there are several. First, it highlights just how important gravity and regular movement are for our health. Even right here on Earth, long periods of sitting around can lead to similar problems, though usually at a much slower pace. This is why staying active, keeping our muscles strong, and supporting our bones with good nutrition are such essential habits for everyone. Second, it reveals the incredible adaptability of the human body. Even in an extreme environment like space, our bodies find ways to adjust. It's both impressive and a powerful reminder of how dynamic our biology truly is. Finally, it reminds us that exploration always comes with risks, and understanding those risks is a key part of making progress. As we look toward the future, the idea of humans living on another planet is becoming more and more realistic. Every new study, every mission, and every technological breakthrough brings us one step closer to that goal. But this journey isn't just about building better rockets and habitats. It's about figuring out how to keep people healthy and thriving millions of miles from home. Scientists, engineers, and medical experts are all working together, solving these massive challenges one step at a time. The first missions to Mars will teach us invaluable lessons that will shape the future of human exploration for generations. Before we wrap up, let's quickly zoom out and look at the big picture again. Long-duration space travel exposes the body to cosmic radiation, which can damage cells and increase long-term health risks. The reduced gravity, or microgravity, leads to a gradual weakening of bones and muscles, even with a strict exercise routine. The cardiovascular system also adapts to this new environment, which can make readjusting back on Earth a real struggle. And we can't forget the psychological factors. Being isolated in a small space for months or years on end, it takes a huge mental toll. All these changes combined show why planning for missions to Mars requires such careful, meticulous preparation and a ton of ongoing research. The dream of stepping onto another world is a powerful one, and the people who choose to go will be pioneers in every sense of the word. Their experiences will expand our understanding of what the human body is capable of and how we can continue to push the boundaries of exploration safely. If you found this deep dive into space health interesting and you want to explore more about the future of space travel and human survival beyond Earth, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Would you ever take a one-way trip to another planet? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.